Hello, this is Morning P, commentating with Microblitz. This is the second match in the double eliminations round of 8 losers bracket. This is WendyLoL versus mattyabar in the Tetris Tournament Online 3, sponsored by Blue Planet Software and Tetris Online Incorporated. WendyLoL has just won this last round of 8 to HD Blink, while mattyabar lost to Heromai in the round of 16 and has been making his way through the losers bracket. Both of these are very strong players. And here they go. mattyabar opening with a C-spin, or with that WendyLoL. What do you see, Microblitz?
It looks like right now, it doesn't look like anyone's really going for any big plays. WendyLoL made a little misdrop there, but it doesn't look like it'll be too bad for him to fix. He is getting through it. mattyabar has a really clean field right now, though, and that helped him spike out WendyLoL. The fact that they're
when
both
he made
in the
that
losers
misdrop,
bracket. Sorry?
Sorry, when he was making that misdrop, he could have turned that into a DT cannon, but he was just so far near the top, it would have been a little risky. What are you saying about the losers bracket?
I was saying that both of these players are really talented, and the fact that they're in the losers bracket isn't an indication of their skill. It's just that they had really tough brackets. Like you said, mattyabar had one of the best players in the world, if not the best, Heromai, and WendyLoL had Blink, who got, I believe, 3rd place last year and 2nd place in TTO1. Looks like mattyabar actually made a tiny a series of misdrops there at the top, and that might actually cost him the match. And
that's surprising, because if you're looking at it, mattyabar is actually playing more conservatively compared to WendyLoL. In that last match, Wendy was opening with the triple-double attack, while mattyabar opened with a 6-3, which is generally more defensive.
I think that's just in his play style. He's just generally a more defensive player, to be honest, because I actually played him to 15 yesterday, and for the most part, that was how he opened. And it's really smart, too, because if you build up that initial 6-3, then you'll have a lot more options. You can cancel a lot more.
Sorry, I became the room match starter without realizing it.
Okay.
Wendy opening with his T-spin double there. mattyabar is
it looks like WendyLoL's going for a 4-wide.
And nothing for mattyabar to defend with either.
Oh, it looks like WendyLoL had to cut the combo short, but it was a pretty good combo. It did send mattyabar to the top, and he's working his way through a lot of Swiss cheese garbage before he can get through to the cleaner garbage, like right there. One thing I noticed when no, go ahead, Morning.
WendyLoL was warming up a bit before this game. Did mattyabar get a chance to warm up? Because I feel like he is not usually misdropping so much, unless maybe he didn't get a chance to warm up.
Yeah, it was really weird. Even when I was playing him yesterday, he's known to be a pretty consistent player, but when he was playing me, he actually misdropped a lot more than usual, and he actually made a series of misdrops right there. I'm pretty sure he did warm up, though, because an hour ago I did see him in a room with Vince, and I'm assuming they were playing each other, warming up for this match in particular.
Sure, that makes sense. But the stakes are really high here, because regardless of circumstances, if either of them loses, they are out of TTO3.
That is true, but I know that Matty actually does have a lot of tournament experience. I was going through Nico, which is basically the YouTube for Japan, and I saw that there were a couple videos of him playing tournament matches. Apparently the Japanese have monthly tournaments, and mattyabar participated in it, so he's not a stranger to tournament pressure. And I'm sure that's not the reason why that he's misdropping. Maybe it's just initially he's just like getting the feel of things. The score right now is pretty close though, 2-2. It doesn't look like anyone's really taking the advantage, but it is, like, again, it is pretty early in the game. I feel like during the mid game is when these players really flourish.
Yeah, that's right. Wendy has a very strong mid game, despite being known for having a deadly 4-wide, which we actually have only seen once so far. And since it didn't really work out for him quite like he expected, maybe he's decided to take his victories with a more consistent means. mattyabar is near the top right now, but still able to block. And Wendy is just putting on the pressure right now with a T-spin single, but mattyabar is timing his attacks very carefully. It looks like he is much more consistent than he was in the first 2 games, whatever reason that may be.
Yeah, WendyLoL is doing a really good job keeping up. He's actually, it looks like he's actually the instigator of the most of the matches. He's the playmaker, if you will. Oh, it looks like he actually topped out there. I think he accidentally pressed the space bar. I'm not sure what happened there, to be honest. But yeah, in the middle of that match, he was actually doing really well, sending a lot of back-to-backs, and then he was doing really well in the down stack. WendyLoL is actually pretty consistent in this match, as opposed to when he played Blink. We saw a lot of misdrops. In this case, I think there's a bit of a role reversal, mattyabar usually being the consistent one, and now it looks like he has been making a lot more misdrops.
That's right. We saw Wendy opening with a more defensive setup. Maybe he's decided to match what his opponent is doing, also playing very defensively. But even then, because he is just playing with such blazing speed, he made a misdrop, which would have been a pretty nice 6-height perfect clear, but I don't see him going for that kind of thing.
I don't know if WendyLoL is playing carefully, but defensively, but he is playing very carefully, and he's doing really well with it so far against mattyabar, keeping the pressure going. His down stacking is really good in this case. The score is 3-3 right now.
That's right. It's very close right now. The match could still go either way, and as we're seeing, there's not any win streak coming from either player so far, so we might see some surprises later in this match, but right now it's just very close.
Yeah, at the beginning of the previous match, mattyabar was actually doing a lot of back-to-backs. He had a really clean field, and he was platforming really well for them. In this match, too, he did a bunch of back-to-backs, and he was very good in this regard at keeping up with WendyLoL.
And Wendy just made a misdrop there, and since Maddie just kept keeping on the pressure, that is enough to top Wendy out. I think that being very careful not to cause misdrops is going to be crucial in this match.
Mm-hmm. Looks like mattyabar is going for his usual setup. Is that a 6-3 or 6-4 or 5-4?
Yeah, 5-4. You usually don't see a 5-4. It's actually much slower to set up because, for example, with a 7-2, it's pretty close to ST or ZT stacking, and with 6-3, there's still you can still rely on making T-spins in a limited number of ways. But a 5-4 is the kind of thing where if you're making it, then there's so many different ways that you can stack your pieces that just thinking about it slows you down. And that's why we don't see it so often. It surprises me that he opened with it.
I think some players just go with the flow. Whatever pieces they get, they just go with it. And um, I think the reason why we don't see 5-4 is probably because uh, most different players have different stacking methods. I think mattyabar is just really good at keeping his field flat. It doesn't really matter how he stacks. For the most part, 5-4 is more difficult to stack with and keep the field flat, so that's probably why we don't see it often. WendyLoL actually taking the win there, 4-4 right now. He actually sent 89 lines in a minute and 17 seconds.
I'm just really surprised with how close these matches were. I think that in the prediction bracket, there were a bunch of predictions for mattyabar taking the win, but WendyLoL is making a very strong case for himself.
Mm-hmm. Could just be style differences. I mean, these two players, they're not too different in styles, but it should be noticeable in the way they play. Like WendyLoL, he makes good use of his speed so that he can set up more back-to-backs and down stack quicker than mattyabar.
And as we see again and again, there's, even though we try to find out who is the best player, every player plays against different players so much differently. And so even though mattyabar may have no trouble raking in wins from one player, it may be a little more difficult for WendyLoL because, as you said, due to their style differences.
Mm-hmm. One thing I've noticed when I play these two players is that you really need to be careful when you attack and when you stack or when you down stack because if you don't keep a mindful eye on their screens and what they're doing, then you could easily get topped out. Both of these players are perfectly capable of spiking at any opportune moment. And it could really take you by surprise if you're not prepared. So I think both players are just really it's really good that these players are playing a little more carefully, especially mattyabar because he knows that WendyLoL is faster than him.
mattyabar stacking down, trying to block a lot of that garbage, but as you saw, it all came onto his field. He just had so much messy garbage, just overwhelmed by WendyLoL's attack.
Yeah, mattyabar actually paused in the middle of that match. I don't know whether he was confused about whether he should skim with that. I believe it was an L piece, or I'm not sure, but it did result in a misdrop on his part, and it did cost him the match. WendyLoL going for some quick T-spins.
I'm not sure why mattyabar did that T-spin single, because he still had to place a couple pieces to adjust for his stack.
Oh, I think that's actually a strategy the Japanese have adopted recently. I've been watching mattyabar and Hebo play, and if you saw, especially in Hebo's videos, he uses the T-spin single sometimes if his opponent's field is too clean, or if he thinks that he's in a bad position to counter if his opponent could just send it right back very quickly. So because the T-spin single only sends 3, or is it 2 lines?
3 with the back-to-back 2 normally.
Yeah, in that case, I saw 3 lines go to WendyLoL's screen, and that's a really good tactic because it makes for messier garbage, and triples aren't as threatening as Tetris's are.
That's true.
And also, it does slow down your opponents a bit.
Well, look at all that misdrops on mattyabar's side. He just had so much trouble getting through that.
Mm-hmm. Looks like he's having a pretty big problem with misdrops so far. The score right now is 6-6. WendyLoL is actually playing a really good game right now. Really consistent, really good pressure. Very clean stacks.
we're seeing WendyLoL go for that T-spin opener a lot, where it goes into a 1-9 where you don't usually see that a whole lot. But he is just piling on at the T-spins right now, playing very aggressively, which probably, I don't know, that looked kind of risky because he was so near the top right there.
Yeah, he was able to get through it. That was definitely a riskier choice to make that T-spin, and especially to use the eyepiece to fill in the. I think it was he used his eyepiece to fill in something.
Yeah, he did way over on the left, and that's when he had a Tetris column right there. Makes you wonder. Wait a minute, when are you going to fill your Tetris column?
Looks like the game's getting a little more strategic and tactical. There was a lot of Swiss cheese garbage or messier garbage in both players' fields, and that's an indication of. I think they were both down stacking really well, and that tends to give a lot of Swiss cheese garbage to both players.
This match is so close. I'm predicting right now that it's going to go into overtime. We're just not seeing either player go away with like even a 2-win streak. It's just going back and forth.
I don't think we've seen an overtime since Ajunba and Ha.
Yeah, no, it always gets really close, but it never actually triggers the overtime, I don't think.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh, that was very nice. Fixing up that misdrop by mattyabar.
Oh, there we go. mattyabar already does have a 2-win streak, so taking the words right out of my mouth right there.
That was a really good decision by mattyabar to send in more pressure while he was at the top. If you're at the top and you see that your opponent is in a bad situation like WendyLoL was, I believe he just made a misdrop and Matty saw that. At that moment, he knew that his opponent probably wouldn't be able to cancel that, and he sent over a Tetris to finish the job.
Oh man, I saw WendyLoL go for a 4-wide opening, which he probably did because he's feeling so much more pressure, but he just made so many misdrops, he wasn't able to use it at all. Even on the down stack, he made a Z misdrop. It was brutal. And mattyabar just took the win for his 3rd game in his win streak.
I think given these two players' experience, I don't think that they're making these misdrops or decisions because they're under pressure or because they're nervous. I think it's more so that what I found was whenever I'm playing a high stakes match, it's not that I'm nervous, but my fingers do twitch a lot more than normal. And that twitch actually causes a lot of misdrops. It causes you to stumble a little bit sometimes. Very nice pressure by WendyLoL over to mattyabar. Matty was able to cancel through some of that. Oh no, he put an L piece over his garbage hole. He was able to fix it in time, but looks like he made another misdrop.
WendyLoL just needs to use this opportunity. No, it looks like it's already gone, but he could have spiked that mattyabar, and he just hesitated.
Ooh, Wendy actually sent over a pretty big spike over to Matty. He's maintaining the pressure very well, I have to say.
He has to. He's just really concerned with ending this win streak that mattyabar had.
Yeah, it's also very smart that WendyLoL isn't just sending Matty straight back-to-backs. He's sending him a lot of messy garbage, and that really slows down Matty's down stacking.
That's right. We're seeing a lot of wins from WendyLoL when he is able to send the messy garbage. He's going to have a hard time getting out of that one. mattyabar is breaking away right here. A 4-win streak.
Looks like he's building a little bit of morale and momentum. 10-6 right now for mattyabar. What do you think is different from now to the beginning of this match? Like,
Well,
what factors do you think are in play right here that allowed Matty to break away?
well, mattyabar was making a lot of misdrops, and the difference is that he wasn't. I didn't see him making very good corrections based on those misdrops. He would always hesitate, but now he's just really capitalizing on fixing those misdrops as soon as possible so that he can recover, and he's just becoming a lot more responsive to WendyLoL's play. I think that that's pretty common to see as well. At the beginning of the match, the players won't really know each other's playstyles as much as you would expect, but then as you go further in the match, they start really tuning into what each other do.
Yeah, WendyLoL actually making a pretty bad misdrop there, and he actually covered up his. I think he could have put an O piece there, but then he put the L piece, and then on top of that L piece, he put an I piece. I think he was playing a little too fast to realize it before he could see the misdrop that he made, and then that cost him the match. Oh, that was a pretty quick match. WendyLoL actually did a really good job. Yeah, he did a really good job with the back-to-back there. Very quick. Didn't allow mattyabar time to recover, and he just finished the job with that last T-spin double.
Let's see if he can catch up to mattyabar right now. He's still 4 games behind, and mattyabar is not so close to winning the match, but he's still in double digits, so it makes you uneasy if you're WendyLoL.
He's doing a really good job right now, though. I know, contrary to what people believe, he's actually a pretty good player. Contrary to the prediction thread, I mean.
Yeah, we're really not seeing WendyLoL rely on his 4-wide this game. He is sending out some really nice mid-game combos, but those are more freestyle combos that are just all over his screen while he's down stacking rather than in 4 columns specifically. mattyabar is setting up for a 3-wide, no, a 2-wide. What is he doing? But it sent stuff to WendyLoL anyway. Wendy is having a heck of a time recovering. Yep, he's able to clinch that one. So what do you think? What do you think is different from the beginning of the match?
For which player?
Well, WendyLoL is struggling. So why don't you? What is different? Why is he not winning these matches like he was at the beginning?
I wouldn't say that there's too big of a change, really. He made a couple more misdrops. He's been making a couple more misdrops than previously before, but he's still managing to get wins. And to be honest, I don't think it's really anything that WendyLoL changed. I think it's really just mattyabar getting more consistent because we have been seeing him do less misdrops. He's getting more in tune with timing and canceling. In that particular occasion, though, WendyLoL had too much to work with and taught mattyabar out. mattyabar was having a little bit of trouble over there. I think he actually tried to do a T-spin triple there to cancel some of the garbage.
That was a pretty nice triple-double that WendyLoL set up at the end. He didn't actually end up using the double part of it, but the triple was enough to top mattyabar out. Now he's setting up for his 4-wide again. It looks like he's starting to feel the momentum.
Yeah, he actually did the 4-wide last game as well, and that was where it's really hurts mattyabar because it did send over a lot of messy garbage, and WendyLoL had a clean slate to work with.
And mattyabar is typing in the chat box, "lol fast."
Yeah, I think he was just surprised at how fast he was able to set up that 4-wide, and WendyLoL. He is actually really fast with his 4 wide. I think he can set it up in like 7 seconds.
And
Oh, he's going for it
4 wide,
again.
yeah, it's working out for him. Why not?
Yeah, for the last 3 games.
Yeah, the side 4 wide is something where most of the pieces go straight down
Oh,
or
he's
to
going
the
for
left.
it again.
So it's a lot. This time a 2 wide, it looks like, into a 3 wide.
Yeah. Oh no.
This is just brutal.
Yeah. Really impressive stuff by Lapsy though, or WendyLoL, because I know that he, whenever I play him, he's able to do that as well. After the first 4 wide, he's able to chain it into another 4 wide. He's just really fast with it. Second bad occasion though. It didn't look like it was a big enough combo.
And it was 4 wide. Sorry, what were you saying?
It's like I was just gonna say it just wasn't enough that round, but it looks like he's going in for it again. Oh no, Matty made a misdrop. That's gonna hurt him. Oh.
Yeah, you saw that WendyLoL was doing his 4 wide on the left side this time. It's a mark of good players to be able to execute their setups on either side.
Yeah, I mean the 4 wide has worked. I think 3 of the 4 times that WendyLoL has used it. It's definitely working against mattyabar. I think he's feeling a little bit nervous about the 4 wide now. Oh, he's going for it again.
WendyLoL was not using the 4 wide near the beginning of the match. Maybe this is something that he pulled out after mattyabar had already adjusted to his playstyle just to throw him off.
It's a shame WendyLoL didn't continue with the 4 wide, because it looked like one more good 4 wide and Matty would have been topped out, because he did actually have to break his back-to-back, and he did make a couple misdrops. Looks like we're back to ground zero. I feel like in terms of the 4 wide, as long as you can survive that, then afterwards it's really just who can downstack better, who can time better.
Yeah, now we're seeing mattyabar do a T-spin single into a Tetris, which is a very good combo. And WendyLoL is just downstacking to try to stay
very nice.
low.
He made like 3 T-spins doubles in like 5 seconds.
And mattyabar is feeling the pain.
Oh no, WendyLoL made a couple misdrops there. He was able to fix it, but it will slow him down a little bit.
mattyabar made some misdrops himself too. And you're seeing him do a lot of soft drops there to correct. That's when you know the misdrops are bad, when you got to revert to soft drops and not twist.
Yeah, it helps though that WendyLoL's field is looking pretty ugly. mattyabar was able to send over enough garbage to WendyLoL. WendyLoL actually did a really good job with canceling most of that by downstack comboing. He was able to survive for quite a long time. Scores right now is 14-10, and it's match point for mattyabar.
I'd really be feeling the pressure right now if I were WendyLoL. And you see him just, like not pulling any punches, doing his 4 wide, just whatever works for him right now. And oh no.
Looks like he actually, I don't know whether it was a misdrop or he had to break the combo early. Looks like he's back on track.
There's no reason he'd break the combo if he didn't have to.
Yeah. Really needs to maintain the pressure right now. Send mattyabar back to the top. Very nice back-to-backing by WendyLoL. Lots of back and forth. Doesn't look like there's anything too interesting to commentate on.
Well, mattyabar, do you think he's playing more consistently now that it's game points? Do you think he feels like he can relax a bit?
I think the last point is the hardest to get, but then it's probably mainly because when you get that last point or while you're at match point, it does get a lot harder to.
Oh, that's it.
Because you're so close. Oh, okay.
That was a huge down stack combo by mattyabar right now. Okay, Stick around for 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time when Chris W.